Hi friends, now we can discuss the concept of multiplier. Generally, the concept of multiplier explains how change in the value of one variable leads to a change in the value of another variable. There are various concepts of multiplier: employment multiplier, investment multiplier, fiscal multiplier, etc. Firstly, we can discuss employment multiplier. The concept of employment multiplier was developed by R.F. Gann. It shows the ratio of increase in the total employment to an increase in the primary employment. Mathematically, employment multiplier can be represented as K is equal to delta n by delta n1. Here, delta n represents change in total employment and delta n1 represents change in primary employment. Total employment consists of both primary employment and secondary employment. Primary employment is directly related to any investment program. The secondary employment is derived employment. It is derived from primary employment. It occurs in consumption industries as a result of primary employment. Now, investment multiplier or income multiplier. The concept of investment multiplier was developed by J.M. Keynes. It shows the relationship between change in income to a change in investment. According to Keynes, when there is an increase in investment, income will increase by K times the value of increment in investment. That is, change in income will be equal to the value of multiplier into change in investment. That is, delta y is equal to K into delta I. The value of multiplier K is equal to delta y by delta I. Now, the value of investment multiplier K depends on the value of MPC, that is marginal propensity to consume. MPC and K are directly related. Higher the value of marginal propensity to consume, higher will be the value of multiplier. The value of multiplier K can be represented as K is equal to 1 by 1 minus MPC, or K is equal to 1 by MPS. For example, if MPC is equal to 0.8, then the value of multiplier K will be equal to 1 by 1 minus 0.8, that is equal to 1 by 0.2, that is 5. That is, income will increase 5 times the increment in investment. The change in the value of MPC and the resultant change in the value of multiplier K is shown in the table. Here, when MPC is equal to 0, the value of multiplier will be equal to 1, and when MPC increased to 0.5, the value of multiplier is 2, and when MPC is equal to 0.9, the value of multiplier will be 10, and when MPC is equal to 1, the value of multiplier becomes infinity. Multiplier effect can also be represented by using a diagram, which is shown in the figure. Here x-axis measures income and y-axis measures consumption and investment. The 45-degree line represents aggregate supply, and the straight line C plus I represents aggregate demand. The economy or the system reaches equilibrium when aggregate demand and aggregate supply are equal. So initially the equilibrium level of income is Y, where aggregate demand C plus I and aggregate supply, the 45-degree line, equal at point E. Now when investment increases by an amount of delta I, the aggregate demand curve will shift upward to C plus I dash. Now the new equilibrium position is E1 and the equilibrium level of income is Y1. Thus the diagram shows that when investment changes by delta I, income increased from Y to Y1. The increase in income is higher than the increase in investment. Thus we saw the positive relationship between value of multiplier and value of marginal propensity to consume. But certain variables negatively affect the value of multiplier. They are leakages of the multiplier. Leakages refers to all kinds of potential diversions from the income stream which tends to weaken the multiplier effect of new investment. Saving, debt cancellation, liquidity preference, net imports and domestic inflation are leakages from circular flow of income and expenditure. They negatively affect the multiplier effect. That is, more saving means less consumption while income remains same. As we know, Y is equal to C plus S. When saving increases, they sacrifice some sort of consumption expenditure. Thus, when consumption falls, the multiplier effect is negative. That is, when saving increases, the income falls. Similarly, the increase in investment generates income. If the income is used for debt cancellation, that also negatively affects the multiplier effect. Similarly, liquidity preference. When people desire to hold more money in liquid form rather than spending for consumption expenditure, the multiplier effect is negatively affected. Net imports also a leakage. The income flows to outside the economy. Net imports represents outflow of income. Domestic inflation also leads to decrease in consumption. Thus, these are leakages which negatively affect the multiplier effect. Now we can conclude the role of multiplier in the theory of employment. In the Keynesian model of employment, output and income, the effective demand determines the level of employment, income and output in the economy. Since effective demand consists of aggregate demand function and aggregate supply function, and in the short period aggregate supply function are stable. Keynes give more importance to aggregate demand in the determination of the level of employment in the economy. Aggregate demand consists of consumption demand and investment demand. Since consumption function also stable in the short run, Keynes give more importance to investment function in the determination of the level of employment in the economy. Thus, an additional investment will result in the increase in the employment output and income in the economy. The initial increase in investment will increase the income by the value of multiplier. Since multiplier is cumulative, a rise or fall in investment leads to a cumulative rise or fall in the income and employment. And now we can conclude here. Thank you.